Behind the facade of charity, Jakub Jahl cultivated an aura of mysticism. Former volunteer Moses Mushi recalls being lured into late-night rituals. In his interview, he explains how Jakub boasted of powerful allies and occult creed. Moses says the ritual was presented as a secret protective ceremony, but it felt like a part of a dark cult. He later realized Jakub used these night excursions to isolate and manipulate volunteers, convincing them he had supernatural powers. He boasted about a Satan Nova, performed secret rituals at sacred trees, and fostered an atmosphere of fear reminiscent of a cult. By framing himself as both savior and sorcerer, he kept volunteers and children in his power.
Yeah, sure. He was telling I have power, and also sometimes he was showing me like he believed on Satan, and he was showing me some of the pictures that he have big people who look after him, and people supporting him. So that way he was doing that. Yeah, sure. Yeah. He does it's something which is called Satanova. We try to show you, and you can see some pictures here there inside, where he was showing me, and he was like a tree. He was like take me to be there inside. Sometimes he was taking me midnight. We was walking up to nearby here to have like a baobab tree. He was taking some drums. We was going. We play some drums, and he was singing. I don't know why he was singing. He was sing and they just play some drums, walking up to the baobab tree. When we been there with the baobab tree, we tried to around the baobab tree, and then he sent some words over there in the baobab tree, and they just will be back midnight. That why he was doing that, yeah, sure.
Jakub's practice of labeling African traditions as witchcraft while performing his own occult rituals fits a well-documented pattern, accusing others of cultism to justify control. Jakub Jahl did not hide his anti-cult obsessions. Before arriving to Tanzania, he portrayed himself online as a cult expert, posting videos and blogs in which he denounced religious groups and branded African traditions as witchcraft. He boasted of writing books and articles, gave interviews to Czech television, and insisted he was saving children from dangerous sects. Jakub Jahl's language and methods mirror patterns seen in international anti-cult networks. He claimed to be rescuing children from a cult and portrayed himself as an expert on spiritual abuse, just like other cult fighters. Yet, by moving children into an unregistered orphanage, sedating them to rape, and organizing late-night rituals, he violated their dignity and their freedom. These acts echo broader anti-cult abuses that misuse childcare institutions and philanthropic rhetoric to commit crimes. This public persona mirrors the rhetoric of a wider anti-cult movement founded and led by a Russian ideologue Alexander Dworkin. Dworkin studied in the United States and returned to Russia in 1992, bringing with him pseudoscientific concepts like brainwashing and mind control. He founded the St. Irenaeus of Leon Information Consultation Center and coined the term totalitarian sect, describing new religious movement as authoritarian organizations run by leaders he compared to Hitler and Lenin. Dworkin's rhetoric claims the right to define religious truths and justifies deprogramming, coercive programs that force people to renounce their faith. The Russian government embraced this rhetoric. In 1997, it passed a restrictive law on religious associations and later created a council of experts that Dworkin chairs. In 2009, he was also appointed vice president of FERSIS, a French anti-cult organization, giving him pan-European influence. At the IRF Builders Forum in Washington in May 2025, international experts warned that transnational anti-cult networks orchestrated from Moscow posed threats to democracy and freedom of religion. They noted that these structures operate under pseudo-expert rhetoric and are coordinated by Alexander Dworkin, leader of the Russian Association of Religious Studies Centers, RACIRS. Forum participants identified anti-cult activism as a hybrid warfare tool used by Russian security services. They highlighted the case of Irina Kremenovska, a Ukrainian anti-cult figure whom they described as a Kremlin agent working directly for Dworkin. The forum applauded the opening of a criminal case against the Kremlin agent Kremenovska in Ukraine and called for international investigations, sanctions, and criminal proceedings against members of the global anti-cult network. These warnings resonate with Jakub Jahl's trajectory. Like Dworkin, he presented himself as a savior of cult victims while committing abuses. He cites Kremenovska and other anti-cult activists, such as Oleksiy Svetogor, a Ukrainian dog hunter known for violent campaigns against stray animals and accused of extremism and pedophilia. The mention of dog hunting is not a coincidence. According to reports, this is frequent practice among anti-cult activists. Witnesses also mention Jakub in this context.
Also, he gives sometimes he gives dogs food, and I had one of my friends tell he give poison to the dogs.
In Mexico, Jorge Ederle Graham, another anti-cult activist, has been accused by human rights groups. He created a facade of a protector of the faithful and kids abused by cults. But in fact, he created his own cult as a cover to run a network of child trafficking, literally selling kids for sex and even organs. Across the globe, some anti-cult groups have been accused of misusing child shelters, exploiting vulnerable people, sexual abuse, and even human trafficking. Researchers note a recurring pattern. Under the rhetoric of protecting society, these activists label minority religions and even civic organizations as dangerous cults, then seek donations and control over adherents. In practice, however, their stated activities often serve as a cover. Survivors report that under the pretext of rescue, anti-cult activists engaged in practices such as forced rehabilitation camps, dog hunts, sexual abuse, including pedophilia, and child trafficking. These abuses violate fundamental human rights. Although details vary, these cases reveal a pattern. Anti-cult leaders use charity or rehabilitation projects as cover, vilify minority religions to attract donations, then exploit or abuse those under their care. Allegations include sexual abuse of children, dog hunting, trafficking, and repression of religious freedoms. Even their facade activity and the way they protect society blatantly violate fundamental human rights. Article 18 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights affirms that everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, including the freedom to change belief and to manifest it alone or in a community. When anti-cult activists label traditional or minority faiths as sects and subject believers to forced deprogramming, they breach Article 18 and related protections such as freedom of expression and association. Jakub Jahl's story is not an isolated aberration, but a part of a disturbing global trend in which self-proclaimed anti-cult experts perpetrate abuse while proclaiming moral superiority. The pattern suggests not random, isolated crimes, but an international structure whose playbook enables offenders to act with near impunity, not only in Tanzania, but also in the United States, Europe, and Latin America.